Hello. Hello, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mark, and for those of you who know me, it's nice to see you again. So this is my first proper YouTube video. I'm streaming live. I'll probably be doing this sort of on a regular basis sort of from now on. This is going to be like my kind of weekly blog of my experiences in Japan and how it's changed me as a person, what I like about Japan, I don't like about Japan. You can pretty much ask me anything you want on this channel. So you leave your comments below, and I shall try and get back to them in the next video or in future videos. So where should I begin? Well, let's begin at the start, I guess. So way back in about February, I applied for a company called Nova, and long story short, they said yes, and I was offered a teaching job here in Japan. I'm in Kurume in Japan, which is it's a city on the island of Kyushu, hence why my channel is now called Mark in Kyushu, because I'll be basically exploring the area and showing you all the sites that I get up to when I get up to it, and also just blogging my everyday life while I'm here, living in this lovely country. So for those of you who might have guessed already, I am from the UK. And of course, those who do know me, this is purely for you and anyone else out there who wants to know more about Japan. So when you do get accepted for whatever job you're applying for, usually a teaching job, because that's the most easiest visa to get hold of, you'll first have to apply for immigration and send all your certificates and your documents off to the immigration office in Japan. Excuse me. Off to the immigration company in Japan. They fill out something at their end, and then they ship it back to you. And then once you've done that, you've then got to take that plus your application to the embassy of Japan in London, in my case. And from there, it usually takes about a week to be issued a visa. And once you have your visa, so sorry about that. So yeah, I am close to sort of busy roads, so you might be able to hear occasional bit of traffic go past. So yeah, once you do get issued your visa, it will then be, well, it's just a matter of time before you're off to Japan. You have to be in Japan within sort of a few months of being issued your visa. I think it's like 6 months. I can't remember entirely off by heart because I booked my tickets in advance. So I sort of knew roughly when I was going, and I arrived on my birthday in May this year. Okay, so that's arriving in Japan. It's a 12-hour flight roughly from the UK, so it's a long flight, but I've had worse experiences, although it was pretty busy. Okay, so the minute you land in most likely Tokyo or Osaka, they're the two big international airports. Tokyo has two. They have Tokyo Haneda Airport, which is the sort of smaller one, and then they have Tokyo Narita Airport, which is the bigger one, more international one. You're more likely to land at Narita, but you could land at Haneda. It depends what airline you've gone with. And of course, the other one is Osaka Kansai Airport. I landed in, as you may have guessed, I landed. Oh, I do apologize. I think I've got like a cough or coming. It's really hot. The humidity is very high today, so my voice is going a bit. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I landed in Tokyo Narita Airport, and the first thing you do when you land is you go to the immigration office desk and you show them your visa, and then a few minutes later you're issued with your residency cards, which looks something like this. So it has your name on top, obviously your date of birth, how long you're staying in Japan, the expiration date, and a very unflattering picture of yourself. So that's the very first thing you get issued. They then tell you at the immigration office that once you arrive in your city that you're going to be staying in, you need to take your residency cards to the local offices, to the local city hall, city office, and register the address you're staying at. They'll write it on the back of your residency cards and usually give it a stamp as well. And then once you've done that, you are legally allowed to work in Japan and live in Japan. You might also have to, depending on the job and depending on what contract you sign. So with me at Nova, I had 2 contract options to choose from, and I chose the one where I receive insurance from the workplace. The downside to that contract is I don't get my money back from my flights right away, but I'd rather know that I don't have to worry about filling out tax forms in Japanese, and I know that I'm insured in Japanese, which is a big relief to me. So that's why I chose that contract. As I said, you could choose the alternative contract, which at Nova is an independent one. If you choose that, nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. You can earn a bit more money, but it's also a bit more riskier, and you have to find your own insurance and you have to do your own taxes. But yeah, that's a little bit about Nova. There are other companies, of course, in Japan. There's loads of teaching companies, and everyone is different. So there's bound to be one that works for you. Okay, so that's the first thing you do, is you get your residency cards, and then you head off to your local city office. You fill out the back. La 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 la. You know, we're living in Japan. The hardest thing about that is speaking Japanese. Usually there won't be anyone there who can speak English. I'm lucky as in my girlfriend helped me, but if you're completely new to Japan, it might be worth getting your boss or co-worker to come along with you just to help fill out the forms. This is also handy because to open a bank account, which is the next big thing you need to do, you need to have a mobile number, a contact number. And Japan being the country it is, you can't get a mobile phone without having a bank, and you can't open a bank without having a mobile phone. Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. However, as I said, if you go with your boss, you can open a bank account with their number, and that's perfectly fine because the bank never call you. They just need it for their records. So yeah, that's opening a bank account. That was fairly straightforward. So even though it was all in Japanese, I went to the post office bank, and they usually have staff there who can sort of speak English, enough to help you out. But if your branch doesn't have anyone, again, just take your boss with you. So yeah, that's my advice for like the first week in Japan is make sure you get your apartment sorted, make sure you open a Japanese bank accounts, and if you can, make sure you get yourself some kind of mobile phone. Most of the shops are quite expensive, but you can get a decent one secondhand. I mean, I've just got an old-fashioned iPhone 6, but it does the job for what I need in Japan. So that's the first major issue you'll come across the minute you land in Japan. That should get all that done your first week. Recover from your jet lag. Open your bank accounts. Make sure you sort out your accommodation beforehand. And yeah. Don't do what I did, which is find your accommodation independently. You can, and that's perfectly fine, but it is much more difficult. Again, I'm lucky because I have someone I can rely on, and my girlfriend was the one who spotted this place alongside me online, and she actually went and looked herself in person, and then we both went, yep, that's fine, we'll take this place. What I would advise is if it's your first time coming to Japan to work, is to see if your company will arrange accommodation on your behalf. You might have to pay extra. It depends, of course, on the company, but most will offer you some kind of lodging you can stay in, at least for the first month or two until you find your own place. But I know at Nova we actually have apartments that they give you if you apply for it. So I definitely recommend doing that if that's something you're looking into. So yeah, get all that done, ideally before you arrive in Japan, so that when you arrive, all you can do is just go straight to your apartment, drop your bags off, and sleep. Because that will be most likely what you're going to want to do, is just sleep. The next day, wake up refreshed, open up bank accounts, go to City Hall office, get all that done, and then you can relax. The next biggest thing you'll encounter is sort of part of everyday life is knowing where to go to eat. I would advise just taking a day to get lost on purpose. Walk around your city, get lost on purpose, discover the small local bars, local restaurants, and find your nearest supermarket. Because you want to buy your food from the supermarkets, ideally because it's usually cheaper. The restaurants are lovely, and don't get me wrong, Japanese food is so good. But make sure you know where your local supermarkets are and your local convenience stores, because convenience stores are a godsend. They are 24/7, open 365 days a year. They are fantastic, and they usually have everything you need. They've got all your toiletries. They sell hot food, cold food, drinks, snacks, toothpaste, toothbrushes, shaving cream. You name it, they have it. They are amazing. And they're usually fairly close. I mean, I have just 2 in the local area alone where I am. Okay, so that's your first week. Your second and third week, just get used to the area, really. Get used to knowing where you've got to go for work every day and how to get home. Learn your train lines if you have to get the train or bus every single day. Learn the timetables. Public transport is very frequent in Japan and very reliable, so it's definitely worth taking. You can never go wrong with public transport in Japan. It is probably the best in the world. I have to get the train every Wednesday, and it's fine. I know exactly what time I have to be at the station for. I know exactly what time I have to leave to get home on time, and when the buses are. Learn that as soon as you can. Okay, then just enjoy Japan for the first 2 weeks. If you can, go exploring. If you don't have time, if you have to work straight away, go on your days off. Just walk around your area, get to know who the people are and what's about in your town or city. If you live in Tokyo, great, because it's so vast and huge. There is always something to do. If you're a bit more rural like I am, explore the city and then go to the next city across. Go to the bigger city, the main city. There will always be something to do. So I'm only 30 minutes train ride from Fukuoka, and that's like the big city in this area. And the area I'm staying in is Fukuoka Prefecture, which is kind of like counties in England. So Fukuoka is the big main city in my area, and it's 30 minutes away by train. Super close, super convenient. So yeah, do that, go explore, enjoy. And at the minute it's Japan's summer, or about to be summer. And just to warn you, it is very hot. And the humidity is, really bad. I'm used to having humidity from the UK, but it's like that on steroids here. It is way hotter than I planned it to be or expected it to be. Make sure you drink plenty of fluids when you come here, especially if you're coming in summertime. Luckily, there are more vending machines than there are people. There's way more vending machines. I think I read somewhere there's like 100 vending machines for every one person in Japan. So, yeah, you're fine. Just go to a vending machine, get yourself a drink. There's like 4 on my road alone. 4 vending machines on this one road. That's how frequent they are. You can always find a vending machine, and they're always on 24/7, left out in the street. Japan is incredibly safe. You can leave your laptop on a desk and it's just going to stay there. You can leave your house unlocked if you want to, and no one will burgle you. No one will even go anywhere near your front door. It's remarkably safe. If you leave your wallet somewhere, tell the police, or better yet, go back to the place you think it might be, and chances are it's there. Japan is just that safe. Can't recommend it enough. That's one of the definitely pros about coming to Japan. Then by the time you get to your 1 month in, like I am, you've settled a bit more. Everyday sort of stuff becomes easier. Now is the time to start studying Japanese. Once you've got comfortable, you know what your routine is, you know where you're going, make an effort to try and learn some Japanese. I've learned a few words since I've been here, new words that I've never heard before. For example, gochiso sama deshita, which means thank you for the meal. It was very tasty. It's what you say after eating. And itakimasu, you say before eating. So that's something new I've learned. I've learned a few songs from TV adverts. I watch a lot of Japanese TV. Personally, I don't enjoy Japanese TV. I think it's pretty bad. But I do watch occasionally just to try and pick up some Japanese words. I definitely recommend attempting to learn the language if you can. You'll find that much easier to survive every day. For teaching, though, you don't need English, and you don't need to speak Japanese. You only need to speak English. English is fine, and you can usually get by buying almost anything without speaking Japanese. They have self-service checkouts. Most of it is fairly straightforward, and most machines will have an English button you can press. So don't worry about that. You'll be fine. But yeah, definitely after living for 1 month, I would suggest now's the time to start learning Japanese. And don't be lazy. Make sure you do it as frequently as you can. Yeah, so it's very, very hot. So yeah, I've been here for 1 month now. And yeah, I'm starting to get settled in Japan. I feel very much at home. Sometimes I do get a little homesick, mostly because there's certain things I miss. Like I miss a good sausage. And what else do I miss? Miss English tea. I have some still, but there's nothing like English tea. Bacon. Bacon's very expensive here. It does exist, but it's pretty pricey. Yeah, there's loads of things I miss, but at the same time I don't. Because Japanese food is delicious and definitely worth trying if you haven't done so. My new favorite is takoyaki, which is basically octopus in like a ball shape. It's very tasty. Definitely worth trying. So yeah, a little bit about me, I guess, while I've been here. So as I said, I've been here 1 month now. I've been to Osaka in that time for my training, where I first tried takoyaki, because it's famous for that. Osaka is a beautiful city, but it's very busy, very, very crowded. If you like that sort of thing, that's fine. I personally didn't, which is why I chose to live in Kyushu, because it's a bit more friendly and a bit more urban and rural. Not so much big city. So I've also been to Fukuoka. They have a place called Canal City, which is basically a giant shopping complex, but they have like a water fountain show every day, and it's well worth watching. They have different events throughout the year. Just so happens that I saw the Godzilla show, but there are other shows as well. For those of you who have watched my Facebook channel, you'll notice that I've done a few funny drink reviews because Japan has some very unusual drinks, and that's definitely something I'm going to continue to do, probably on here now, on YouTube. I don't know how good the quality is of these live streams, so I don't know how often I will do them. I might do them frequently, or I might just pre-record a video and then upload it later. I'll have to check back the quality and hear your reviews afterwards. But yeah, sort of 1 month in, I'm loving Japan. It's a great country, very safe, very friendly, and very hot. Very, very hot. But yes, so I hope everyone is doing great. I'll try and keep these updates as frequently as possible. And if you are new to this channel, I've never seen you before, thank you for taking the time to watch. And please do subscribe, as I will be making more content as I go. And document my life in Japan, because I've, as I said, only been here for 1 month now. Yeah, so that's all I've got to say this time. If there is any questions or anything, either ask me on Facebook or, better yet, comment on this video, and I'll try to include it in the next video, and I'll try to be more detailed. This is sort of my first time properly live streaming, so it's still a bit new to me and a bit alien. I'm sure I'll get more comfortable the more I go on, so please ignore my ricketiness in this first video, because I don't really know what I'm doing. Well, I do, but I don't. It's not great, and I'm aware that my connection is probably not the best. But yeah, so all in all, Japan 1 month in, love it. Definitely recommend visiting. And yeah, I shall update you with some more videos, maybe some more food related stuff and drink related stuff if that's what you want to see. Also, I'm more than happy to document where I live, the city I'm in, and Fukuoka, some hot springs, and anything else in Japan. And if you are new to Japan, or if you want to know more about this country and my experiences, as I said, do ask me, and I'm more than happy to share my experience with you and tell you how I feel.